Hi Emma, thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
We're here to discuss your NHS Women Leaders project. Could you tell me a little bit about how it came about?
I can. So about 3 months ago, I was driving in the car and I had just been reading an article from a big corporate organisation in the pharmaceutical industry about celebrating their new appointment to a female executive role, and just driving along, and I thought, okay, why are we not supporting and celebrating exactly the same for the NHS? I've just recently finished writing a report for in my councillor role for a national women's organisation about women and leadership and diversity, and the sort of different conversations we should be having, particularly around the NHS. The next conversation that I think we all need to be driving is how the biggest institution of this country can really get to grips with the leadership imbalance. So why is it that there are 77% of women and yet the leadership levels, are not commensurate to that and are not equivalent? We know that women make decisions very differently to men, and when you have the power of both of those different approaches from both men and women around the table, especially as we approach integrated care systems and different ways of working and having to cross-functionally, cross-team work, that actually I think that it will have much better dialogue and outcomes as a result of that.
Do you have a message for Matt Hancock regarding closing the gender gap at the top of the NHS?
Yes, provide flexible working. Definitely. I think that's one of the big culture shifts that has to happen. I don't think that there is anything else we can do on the conversation with equality and diversity. I think we just need to make it happen now. I think everybody's aware that we have this imbalance. We know the numbers, we know the facts, we know that women are not taking those leadership roles. I think now it's about why, and the biggest thing for me is let's embrace a community of women to give them confidence, but I think let's make that flexible working really around that 24/7 NHS model.
So you've engaged the Department of Health and Social Care, so what response have you had?
Amazing response. There's a real interest now. So not only have we had this unbelievable response from women who are either leaders or want to be leaders, but actually the Department of Health and Social Care have really invested in this as well. So we have Caroline Dinenage, who is the Minister for Social Care. She is going to kick off our interview with the leaders. So we started right at the top. How did you get where you got? Because ultimately, she is one of the biggest leaders of the DHSC, so she's very kindly given us a great interview, so that's going to kick us off in the next week or so. And then from that, we've had as much support as we can possibly get. So there's a lot of interest. So I just feel we're just on the edge of making something really special happen.
So how can we get women to profile the work they do?
So one of the big projects that I am the most proud of is that we are able to build a community that women tend to flourish within. They like to sort of build confidence together and showcase and share their experiences. So this network that we now have is encouraging women to come forward and share their experience and share their best practice. And one of the projects that we're going to be kicking off very shortly, is Interview with a Leader, very similar to what we're doing here, where it will be profiling women that have already made the leadership role to say, I struggled with the confidence, I struggled with the opportunity, I struggled with the family life. These are the things that I wish I knew at the time. I wish I'd have just gone for it. And just be able to say, it's okay, me too, I've done that, but I've then gone on and put myself forward, you should do the same. And so I think it's all about nurturing the confidence, allowing people to share the anxiety, the success, but I think also mentorship is the big thing. And every single person I've engaged with to help run this project has all said, I will be part of that mentorship programme, either as a mentor or a mentee. So I think that's the crux for me.
Fantastic. I think that's an excellent place to start, because it does give more access to women to be able to go for those roles.
It does.
Okay, so we're Pharmafield magazine. We go out to pharma professionals. What can pharma do to support women leaders in the NHS? What role do they have to play?
So I think rather than celebrating our own success of how we are achieving this diversity, equality balance, I think we should be starting to take all of those skills that we have got in the private sector and really throw them into the public sector. I mean, ultimately, every single one of us wants the best outcome for patients. And so for me, it's about just thinking differently. So as you're putting all your different programs together and your strategies, what other things could you be doing to support women become leaders, so that ultimately those decisions and those improved patient outcomes will manifest as a result of having women around those leadership tables. I think that also it's about making sure that any best practice can be shared with the network, so that again we can put, this is a great example here, we can share it. Women are really, really hungry for, how did you do it? So my ask would be that actually we start to give all of those brilliant skills and programs of leadership and development into our customers, because ultimately they're taking care of those patients that we wholeheartedly want to see better outcomes for.
Brilliant, and hopefully they'll be able to take that forward. Clearly there's work to be done. How can people get involved?
Wow, gosh, I ask myself this all the time. How do we make this happen? I mean, the fact that we have 4,500 followers already without any effort just shows that there really is an opportunity here for all of us. And we know that as a balanced decision-making unit of women and men, you have different skills, you have different ways of approaching tasks, and I guess it's really how can we come together as a public and a private sector to really address this, and any support that we can have to really upscale this project and this network and really take it up to the next level. And if there's any provision of mentorship, we'd love to hear from you.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Emma.
Thank you.